Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Feathers Life Masterclass with Dr. J. I am your host, Dr. J, and tonight our special guest is Mr. Marcus Wallace, Mayor of Edwards, Mississippi. How you doing today, Mr. Wallace?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. I'm good.
Well, we're glad to have you here today, and we won't keep you long. I know you are traveling.
Yes, indeed. Actually, just on my way back home from a couple of meetings as it relates to the storm that tore up Louisiana. Had some companies down there inquiring about my company coming to assist because we've done that. We've done a lot of storm cleanup in the past.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what's the name of your company?
It's Mack and Associates.
Mac
Mac Yeah, we started out as Mac Construction in 1996, and been blessed to 2020 to still be here.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Cool. So start off by telling us a little bit about yourself. Who is
Well, I'm
Marcus Wallace?
I'm a native of Edwards, Mississippi. Pretty much call myself a cafe baby because both of my grandparents had cafes in the town, in the heart of the town of Edwards. My grandfather was the first black chief of police for the town of Edwards, and just come from an entrepreneurial family on both sides. My both sides of my family have owned businesses, for years, and it was pretty much born in me as well. And moved to Jackson, and going to the sixth grade. Went to Powell Junior High at that time, and then from there to Callaway High School, and from Callaway to Southern University in Baton Rouge. And once I graduated, came back home and worked in the family businesses for a while. I also had other jobs with Delta Airlines, Foot Locker, and SkyTel. But I also started out my businesses during that same time, and at the same time raising three children. I used at that time I started my construction company, which was Mac Construction, and my sports agency, which was the Wallace Group, where I represented basketball, football, and baseball players. Well, while I was working at Delta, I utilized the free flight benefits on my off days to fly around the country to recruit players, which is how I built my sports agency. And as far as the construction part, started out with a pickup truck and a ladder, doing very, very small jobs. Built my company up to medium-sized jobs, and then after a while, understood that the real strength in construction is, politics. The big projects are, in government, municipality. So started forming relationships with different municipalities, government entities, and started getting, being blessed with some of the bigger projects. Did a lot of work for the city of Jackson under the leadership of Mayor Harvey Johnson, and everything else has been nothing but blessings ever since.
Wow. So you have a sports agency as well?
Right. I've negotiated about 42 contracts over the years.
Wow.
A lot of Mississippi players, probably a couple of household names that you may be familiar with. Everybody knows Tang Bang, the Cookie Man from Lanier, who went to Mississippi State. I signed him with the Miami Heat twice. We also did some summer league stuff with Memphis Grizzlies and the 76ers. There was a tall gentleman that played at Jackson State named Vincent Jones. They used to call him Silky Slim. He was from the Delta, played several years overseas. Um, Charlie Anderson, who went to Provine and then to Ole Miss, was drafted in the seventh, I think it was the seventh round, sixth or seventh rounds to the Houston Texans. But just a host of names over the years of players that I've represented. Also, currently, right now, Everybody knows Snacks from Jackson State, who made the uh, the the uh, the shot. I can't say that it was a surprisingly shot because he can do that on a regular basis.
Oh,
He
wow.
does that consistently, but I represent him as well, and we've been able since that happened. Of course, COVID has hurt us a lot because a lot of companies are not quickly to spend endorsement dollars right now because of the COVID situation. But we've been blessed to obtain endorsement from Buffalo Wild Wings so far, and we've been in talks this week with Wendy's on some things. So he has a couple of Fortune 500 companies that are expressing interest, and hopefully once this COVID is over, we'll have a lot more because he won the Oscar award of sports, which is an ESPY. He won an ESPY award, so that along with 13 million plus views, kids should get a lot of doors open for him, and I'm just
Wow.
thankful and blessed that he stayed home and you utilize talents here at home, which is one of the things I always stress. I have a serious problem when opportunities arise here at home in Mississippi and in Jackson, and athletes and other business opportunities, they go outside of the state to get people to do the jobs, do the projects, or represent athletes when we got a lot of talent here at home that could serve the same purpose. And so I'm very grateful and thankful that he gave me an opportunity to be his agent slash manager, and I've also pulled together another group of local people to help me, make that a success.
And how did you get into this business? Were you, is it just basketball or is it basketball and football? Is it,
Right? Yeah, it's basketball, football, artists. I've represented musical artists as well, and like I said, a person like Snacks, who is kind of like he's like a athlete slash public speaker, motivational speaker. I've been in the management business. I started both companies at the same time in '96, and so um, I haven't focused a lot of attention on the agent side for a lot of years because when my son was in the seventh grade, I picked up on about 25 other young men and kind of served as a mentor to them. And so now that they're all graduating, well, first, all of them pretty much got scholarships to college. Um, and they're all pretty much graduating now. So some of them are pursuing professional ball careers, and it's no question about who their agent is or who they'll be working with. But I saw importance of putting the agent part to the side and trying to help groom these young men into positive young men who want something out of life and using sports as a stepping stone. I always tell kids that uh, sports is the bonus part. What we're really focusing on is excelling in sports in high school and AAU in hopes that we can get you some free education where your parents won't have to spend money for you to go to college. And then once we do that, we'll focus on if there's a opportunity on the professional level. So that's kind of, where we are now. And I'm very proud of them. Out of the 25, I would say two or three of them, I lost one to the penitentiary, and another one is no longer here with us. And so for the most part, 85% of them have completed college or in the process of completing, and they're really off to a good start.
wow, that is so inspiring. It reminds me of the work that I do with Camp Fabulous. So thank you for pouring into these young men. They actually need guidance. They need someone to share their stories with them. So I really, like I said, I didn't know that about you. So I'm learning
Exactly.
something here.
Well, I tell I'm sometimes my mouth may get me in trouble because I speak a lot from the heart. And I made a post the other day basically saying that, all this crime that we're seeing, and when you look at it, it's mainly young men between 15, 16 to 20 years old, or I would say 22. And, really, it's not all their fault. A lot of it is our fault. And when I say our fault, you got a lot of fathers around here who are not stepping up, assuming their responsibility and raising their sons to be men. But we also have a lot of successful men in the community who have kind of forgotten where they come from, and they go home every day to their little private oases and happy, about the fact of them being successful, and possibly those who are raising their children, but lackadaisical when it comes to reaching back into that same community they grew up in and grabbing two or three more to help raise as well. And so, you got a lot of young men out here who don't even know who their fathers are. Fathers are not in their lives, and a lot of them are searching. A lot of these guys who are getting in trouble, they're searching. They're searching for love. They're searching for that male figure to keep their foot on their neck. Love them tough, reward them when they do well, and basically listen to the dreams and the desires that they have. When I obtained was blessed to get the Siemens project, uh, I had it was almost like God had sent me a revelation early on that a huge project like this. So I had strategic plans in place before that even happened. And one of the things that I did when I got that project, I had to hire a lot of people, a lot of guys, and train them to be certified water meter installers. And I ended up hiring about 135 guys. Well, I strategically tapped into every hood in the city of Jackson, every hood, Shady Oaks, the Queens, the Addition, Verdant Addition, you name it. And I grabbed young men who had just gotten out of prison. I grabbed young men who was selling drugs in the street. You name it. And I made them certified installers, and those guys got up every morning happy because they got up feeling like they were certified and that they were making a big difference in improving quality of life. And a lot of them will call and tell me today, thank you, because I gave them a chance. And so, like I say, it's not all the young men's fault. It's not at all. um we gotta we some of our us men are stuck on ourselves out here, and dwelling on the successes that they have accomplished, but you're not fully successful and accomplished until you reach back and grab some more and bring them along. And we have a real huge problem around here with that.
Wow, wow, wow. Very powerful. We need more men doing that type of work. So I know that you are very spiritual. I've seen some of your posts where you share some spiritual messages. Who would you say that God is to you?
One word, I guess, that I could sum it up is Almighty. I mean, God is Almighty to me, and even more now than ever, because I just come off a a near death situation, with this COVID and pneumonia that I had, and but for some reason I never really had fear of dying, because it was almost like, I've been, God has given me confirmation that, the assignments that he's given me here on earth, as far as, you know, providing for my family, raising my children, putting them before myself, because I could easily, being successful, I could have the lavish, uh, you know, two or three lavish cars, and spend money on all the things that as it relates to myself. But I put my kids before me, and once I got them through college and got them all situated, then I started kind of rewarding myself. But he also gave me the task of reaching out and grabbing some unfortunate young men, and and been in their lives, and have done things. There was one, I give you an example. There was one kid I used to always have to keep at least $50 on one of my credit cards, because his mom was raising him and his other two brothers, and they were huge boys. I mean, one meal wasn't gonna really fill them up. But every at least once every other week around 9 o'clock, he would text me and say, "Pops, can you order me a pizza?" So I used to have to make sure I kept $50 at least on that card, where I could call the Domino's in his area to order pizza and pay for it by card, so he could not go to bed with on an empty stomach that night. And so from that, along with God, sending a message to me from through my grandmother before she passed, telling me to go home and go to Edwards and make a difference. At first, I was a little puzzled. I'm like, my dear, why you want me to go to Edwards? I'm running, I'm trying to build a successful construction firm and represent players. She said, boy, go home and help change the town of Edwards. And so I'm one of those, grandmama don't have to say it too many times. But once I got there, and the night I won, I had an 80-year-old man come to me, with tears in his eyes. He said, "Son, we never thought we would see hope." And so the message through my grandmother, along with this 80-year-old man coming to me with tears in my eyes, that in his eyes, that kind of gave me confirmation that this is something that, another task that God wanted me to do. And I tell everybody, I make $583 a month being the mayor of Edwards, and I probably spend $1,000 a month running back and forth up and down the road, and going in meetings, and trying to beg for funding for the town of Edwards. But it's that drive that keeps me going, because I've been able to accomplish a lot of things since my 2 terms as mayor, and I see, and the citizens are starting to see the quality of life changing, down there now. Just recently, all the major streets in the town of Edwards have been, repaved, thanks to um, Commissioner Willie Simmons and Supervisor David Archie, and also I have to thank Senator Horn and Representative Deborah Dixon, who used to be in office, and also Representative Stephanie Foster, and of course the Congressman. But now you can ride in Edwards with 3 cups of coffee on the dashboard, and a lot of small black towns can't say that. I mean, it's starting to really blessings are really unfolding in the town of Edwards.
You can't say that in Jackson.
Yeah. That's right.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, love is a huge part of our lives. How would you describe love? What is love?
I think love is a common denominator. That's what's missing here in this country right now. No love for life. Um, you know, to me, God doesn't see us. He doesn't see black folks, and he doesn't see white folks. To me, the color God see in all of us is neutral. And he's not concerned about our color. He's concerned about our heart. And even with the state flag, everybody's excited about changing the flag, and I'm glad that it happened. But if the hearts don't change, and the systemic stuff that goes on doesn't change, then fabric doesn't matter.
Great point. We have been working to get this flag changed for years. And if you just study history from the end of slavery, the end of Reconstruction, the end of the Civil Rights Movement, when they rendered the Brown versus Board of Education decision, they fought against all of those things, every last one of them. So we have to know that a fight is going to come when you change anything, just from history.
Right, right. I agree. But also we got to do a reality check too. We you know, sometime I want to make sure I say this right.
Mhm.
Um, we got a lot of African Americans in leadership who are just basically standing on the sideline spectating instead of being on the field playing. And that's why we got to really continue to raise awareness and educate our people on the importance of voting. Um, for far too long, we vote on elections like we vote in the beauty and boat contest in high school. We vote people because of popularity instead of voting people because of passion and what they're going to get in office and do. And, you know, it's something wrong with the picture when we have majority African American House. We have uh, majority black mayors in this state. We have majority black board members. Just majority everywhere. But when you look at the opportunities that are let out on the state and local levels, federal levels too, the percentages are just heartbreaking. And that has a lot to do with leadership. It has a lot to do with leadership. When I became mayor of Edwards, I adopted the EBO policy that the city of Jackson had, which ensures on every single project or supply or whatever that comes out of the city of Jackson, there was a minority percentage a part of it. Well, in Edwards, I again I adopted that policy, but I amended my policy, and I amended it to there's a separate percentage of for minority, but there's also a whole nother percentage of local for local businesses, not necessarily minority, which means that not only would a minority get percentage of the opportunity or the project or whatever, but somebody in Edwards, Mississippi is gonna make some money off of whatever opportunity that comes up out of the town. And every single thing that we've done, we followed that process, and that's how you empower your communities. And I had planned to take the same thing to the transportation commissioner office if I had won, because you can't. A lot of people don't get opportunities because of the way things are carved out. And when you're in those type of leadership and powerful positions, you have the power to carve projects and opportunities out where even the little man can get a piece of it. And so I feel that that's truly missing in the state of Mississippi and the city of Jackson and other municipalities as well.
Yeah, it definitely is systemic, and we have to address those issues so that African Americans can receive economic justice.
Right. Well, it is systemic, but I don't know the word we can use when we got our people, when you got black leaders in office that's not making sure the opportunities come. I don't think that falls under systemic, but we gotta, it's something wrong. I would say that part falls under personal agendas. That's what I think that falls under. But we gotta figure out a way to turn this thing around. And like I said, I had no desire to be in public office growing up, but now my drive is so high when it comes to that, because in order to change this thing, we got to get the right people in the right positions. And a lot of people say, Elwood's that little old town, but I treat, God say you be faithful over few, he make you rule over many. That's why I treat Elwood's like it's New York City, because if I'm able to take the little pennies that they give us, and trust me, they give us small pennies. It's just heartbreaking when you look at the appropriations list and you see what big towns and cities get as opposed to small towns and cities. And then another thing, when a project comes available, just like they broke ground on the new road in Ridgeland. And I'm very happy, for Mayor McGee, because he really is a good person. I tell you, whenever I've had a death in my family, he calls and sends out sympathy cards and stuff all the time. So I'm very happy for the successes that Ridgeland has. But that project, for instance, was $28 million. And it took a while for them to get it done. But most of the time, those projects, they have their monies in place. Well, in the small municipalities, we have to pull hair, tooth, comb, and everything to try to pull monies together just to get a small project completed. And it's just, it's you see the George Floyd situations, in the streets and things like that. But on the white collar side and on the political side, a lot of us been George Floyd's as well.
Yep, yes, indeed. You mentioned small town. Jesus was from a small town, and so they talked about him too. So it's not where you're from, it's where you go.
Right, right. That's it.
One of our viewers, Miss Clark, said, "What are some things you feel would increase African Americans to go out and vote?"
If I'm trying to make sure I answer this professionally, but Donald Trump should be enough to make folks get out and vote. I mean, there should not be any more enticing or any more encouraging that needs to be done. I mean, if you just observe on a daily basis, I mean, since day one, since he's been in office, we've dealt with drama. We've dealt with drama. And it's some of the things that have happened. I mean, to have taken this COVID stuff lightly and allowed it to get into our country the way that it did, and just a lot of different things that have happened since he's been in office should be encouraging enough. I mean, I've made several posts to the fact that we need to treat this election like Black Friday. People start standing in lines in the wee hours of the morning, and some the day before, just to get a television. We need to have the same attitude when it comes to this election November 3rd. People need to tailgate out at their voting polls the night before, you name it, because we just really can't really afford to take another 4 years, with this. And, even from a state level, we got to get serious too, because, it's very embarrassing. You travel all over the world as well, but we're a laughing stock outside of Mississippi. People laugh at us. I mean, because it's almost like when foolish stuff come up, we the first one to raise our hand. We the first class clown to raise our hand to join in on the foolishness. And just recent, we wanted one of the 5, 6 states who allowed Kanye West to get on the ballot. I mean, this is not, this is not the Grammys, this is not the BET Awards, this is not the VMAs, so people don't need to be fooled about a musical artist on the ballot,
Right.
and so, but those are the games that have been played for so long,
Yep.
and the sad part about it, some of our people, they gonna vote for him. And some people, one thing I found out since I've been on the political circuit, people out here really selling their votes. I mean, $25, the Republicans can buy votes. People are really out here selling their votes. And and my thing is, how can you do that when well, what I arrive at is the fact that people do that because obviously they don't really know the history.
Yep.
They don't know how a man walked 8 miles to a voting poll, and the white folks told him, this is not your voting poll. And then he had to walk 16 miles to another poll, and they when he got there, they told him, the other poll is your poll. And so by the time he walked 24 miles back, the poll was closed. That kind of stuff bring tears to my eyes.
Right.
And that right there in itself should make you want to vote. This postal service issue, it shouldn't be an issue. I mean, to me, mail-in ballots is, really is a lazy process. Today's society is making things a lot more lazy. I know there's some old people that can't, get to the poll thing. Like, well, hey, we as the healthy ones, we need to step up and make sure these people get to the poll. I mean, all these preachers got church vans. You got church vans. On election day, you need to have your church van rolling to get all these people to the poll. And if they're gonna play with the postal service system, we shouldn't let that mind boggle us and worry us. Let's go to plan B. Just get your butt to the poll. Find out, take this opportunity now and find out where your voting poll is, and make sure you at the poll to vote. And let them do what they want to do with the mail system. So, like I said, we as a whole got to get serious. I mean, it's time out for all this playing, and like I said, the young generation, they wild and foolish right now. But we as grown folks, we got some fault in that. Because we got too many parents been focusing on being their child's friend instead of putting something on their tail. And see, that's how we turned out the way we did. If you sneeze too loud or you sneeze wrong, you got something on your butt. And and it worked. That's the blueprint. There's blueprint to everything in life. And the blueprint to life is that Bible. And so if we just stick to the process and the blueprint, we'll be fine. But that's when we have problems, when we get off the blueprint.
Yep. God gave us a blueprint and we won't even read it.
That's it. That's it. Yep.
Speaking of blueprint, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment? What are you most proud of?
My greatest accomplishment is raising my children and getting them all through college and doing some things that I know other races have done to get their children ahead. White people are ahead of us because of certain things. Some left inheritance to their children. Some, understood the importance of insurance, life insurance, and things like that. And so I worked hard, sun up to sundown, and was, sent my kids to, good colleges. My oldest went to UCLA. My my baby girl went to Tennessee State, and my son went to Arkansas Pine Bluff. When they all graduated, I was blessed to basically buy each one of them cars and actually give them their title to their cars, brand new cars, and give them titles to their cars. Because when we graduate, most of the time, the two big expenses that we have is apartment rent or whatever and a car note. So I just, told the Lord, to bless me to do that so I could take a major bill off their hand as they set out, in adult life. Another thing that I did the first 12 months of wherever they, moved to, my girls moved to Atlanta, but the first 12 months, I was, gonna pay their apartment rent. So that also gave them a head start. And so that's been my biggest accomplishment, to get them, college education, basically uh, be able to put them in a position where they could, kind of start off debt free and save, really save some money. Because, the key to real wealth is having your own and being able to invest in certain things early in life, where if you can take risk, and if you lose, you still got ways to bounce back. So
Yep.
that's been my biggest accomplishment.
So, in contrast, what would you say is your biggest regret or your biggest failure?
Uh my biggest failure and my biggest regret probably would be that um I did not really understand the importance of having good credit as I was growing up. I didn't I took that for granted. If I had, understood the importance of having good credit, oh my God, I probably would be a billionaire by now. Um
I know, right?
but but that's a important thing that I try to teach the young men that I'm, in their lives, and the young ladies too. My daughter's friends, when they come around, I try to, you know, preach as much as I can, because when, you got good credit, it helps you, it helps you go a long way. Which credit never stopped me. I just paid a higher interest rate on things, but that wasn't, I shouldn't have had to do that.
Right. How do you define success?
Um, I made a post a little while ago about similar to that. Sacrifices plus struggles equal success. But also, once you reach your success, or you succeed in life, it's not
Gotta help
it's not
somebody.
fully certified until you reach back and do the humanitarian side of things, I would say. You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
get you know you once you get up every day with a giving spirit, a natural giving spirit. If you go to McDonald's and get you a Big Mac and it costs $5, and you give the young lady at the 1 to 10, just drive off. When you naturally get to that point where money doesn't matter to you and you just want to bless somebody every day, that's to me, that's when the true success will be certified and final.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Because the things that you're going to encounter in life, you need to along the way try to garner some credit points from God, as far as favor. See, people don't understand what I just went through with this COVID and pneumonia.
Mm.
I was able to cash in some of them credit points, that I've gotten over the years from being a true servant for God, and blessing people and helping children and stuff like that. So that's why I walked in that hospital with no fear. And that's why I'm here today, to be able to talk about it. But when you selfish and only for yourself, and you mistreating your children, you mistreating your wife, or whatever the case may be, it's kind of hard to talk to God and he really listen to you when you lay in that hospital bed. He'll listen, but it ain't nothing like when you got favor from doing the work, helping him on earth get things accomplished.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yep.
indeed. So if you could meet anybody besides Jesus, who would it be?
You say if I could reach,
If you could meet anybody, dead or alive, besides Jesus, who would it be?
hmm, hmm, I I don't know. I mean, I've been blessed to meet a lot of folks. Over the years. Of course, the only person that I would really just care to meet, have a desire to meet, would be God. When that time come. Um, I don't have, I, and I guess only reason why I'm not able to really just call a name right off is because if you just keep doing what you're doing and making a difference in your community and in the hearts and lives of the less fortunate, it's not really anybody in particular you want to meet. I mean, because you'll be just like them when you walk in the room. You won't have to you no longer have to introduce yourself.
Wow, perfect, perfect. What would you say is your favorite scripture or favorite quote?
Um, my favorite scripture is before honor comes humility. You have to humiliate yourself. Sometimes you have to humiliate yourself. It looks humiliating in the public's eye, but if you're doing it for the right purpose and the right reason to receive honor from God. So that's one of my favorite scriptures. And my favorite quote is, I got so many. Uh but one I could use is, plant a seed, water a seed, and sit back and watch it harvest. You know, and that is instruction on a lot of things. Just like these young men I'm talking about. Reach back and grab two or three young men, plant that seed in them.
Yeah.
As they grow, water that seed, nurturing them, getting putting the right things in their mind and their heart and their spirit. And I promise you, all you got to do is sit back and watch the harvest. When they walk across that stage, graduate from college, when they get that job, or when they go to the pros, I mean, the tears gonna automatically fall from your eyes, because you planted that seed, you watered that seed, and
Right.
you sat back and watched it harvest.
Right. What is your favorite book, or what book would you recommend for our viewers to read?
The Bible, the Bible. Like I said, it's the blueprint of life. Whatever issue you're having in life, all you gotta do is go to the back and reference it, and it's gonna take you to them scriptures. And that's the first book that I would say everybody need to try to read. I mean, I'm not a PhD in it by no means, but when I need a word and
Yes.
I can't get to my pastor or whatever, I know how to go to that Bible and find, you know, that page of the blueprint to get what I need, to get fed what I need.
Yes, indeed. Like
Yep,
Jeremiah said, it's like fire shut up in your bones.
that's right. That's right.
It just does something to you. And that's why I've memorized over 100 scriptures. So after I seen that movie, what's the movie with Denzel? When there were no more Bibles. So if there's no Bibles in the anywhere, it's in my heart. So if I
That's it.
find myself in a place where I can't get to a Bible, I start saying the scriptures that I know already, and it helps.
Right. Right. Well, and then too, if you really understand the Bible and everything, you'll understand that what we're dealing with right now is really spiritual warfare. You know, it's so much evilness that's going on. I mean, the head commander in chief is
Yes,
really nothing but the devil. We got so much evilness going on as far as killing, robbing, all kind of stuff. And so, God he's tried to talk to us. He tried to talk to us, sending signals. We've had floods, we've had tornadoes. I mean, we never had two hurricanes at the same time in the water, in the Gulf
Right.
up until recently, and so none of that has really woke folks up. And so Second Chronicles 13:14 tell you, when you know, when things like this happen, God gonna send a pandemic or epidemic or whatever. And so until we get on our knees and repent and beg for forgiveness, things like this are gonna continue to happen. But when everybody do, when all knees eventually bow, then he will instantly heal the land. And so, a lot of people, what we're seeing now, we're seeing a lot of non-believers. We're seeing a lot of people who say they believe in God. They say,
Right.
but they really, they really don't. And I clearly see and understand why the Bible says, faith is the size of a mustard seed, because that small seed, he has a hard time just with that little seed of trying to get us to have that much faith in him. And so, people thinking that this pandemic and corona stuff is like natural, or it's gonna go away and all, but it's a spiritual warfare until everybody do what they supposed to do. And it's unfortunate that some good people are losing their lives behind it, but that's really all what's going on. Like I said, Second Chronicles 13:14, it telling us exactly what's happening.
And he also says, but without faith, it is impossible to please God. And faith comes by hearing the word of God.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if somebody's out there and their faith level is low, listen to the word. That's how you increase your faith.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
So let me ask you this. What about your favorite movie?
I got several.
What is
I
it?
got several movies. I'm an action-packed person. I like action-packed movies. Of course, I like the life told story type movies as well. American Gangster, I like that movie. I like Black Panther.
Yeah.
Um,
Wakanda for
um, the oh yeah, the bad boy movies. I like. I love to watch the old movies, Bill Cosby and the Dolomite movies. I like to see those movies as well. Um, I'm trying to see Malcolm X. Just the Clark sisters movie just that they recently just had. I mean, I like all of those type movies. But I'm also I like the episode type stories. I love all the Chicago Fire, Chicago PD uh, shows that come on. I like Power. Um, I think that's another thing, though. I think that's really hurting society as well. Kids are able to see a lot of stuff these days. Back in our days, the porno magazines were behind the counter and you couldn't get to them, you know. But now children can go on Facebook and Instagram and television and see rump shaking and everything. Uh, you know, this P Valley show, it's entertaining, but I mean, young people. I don't think kids, under you know 17 should be watching it. But it's just so much that they are accessible to these days.
right. So you mentioned that you recently had a battle with COVID and pneumonia. I didn't know that you was battling pneumonia. Could you kind of talk about that? We only have like 2 minutes left in the show, but I did want you to mention your battle with COVID-19.
Right. Well, I was, of course, I've been tested a total of about 8 times now. But early on, I tested twice, and my tests were negative. But right during when the legislature was ending session, and that's the time when mayors are down there trying to, beg and see what they can get for their towns. I was down there, but also I've had a high percentage of citizens in my town testing positive. That's why I had the state health and Jackson Hines to bring the mobile units in, because I was attempting to get every single person in the town tested. So I don't know exactly where I contracted it. Um, but and I'm not mad, because I was in the fire. Like I told you, I was in the fire working for the good Lord. So I'm not worried about, I think when he sends some of his soldiers in, he gonna protect them. And so I don't, like I said, I don't know where I contracted it, but um, the blessing part of it is that I had was the fact that I had a personal physician. And I encourage everybody to get your personal physician, and not, when you get sick, just run to any doctor, because my personal physician, when I came up positive and I called him, he said, all right, I need you to go to St. Dominic. I want to get some extra blood work done. And he said, I want to get an x-ray done. Well, I was in my mind, I'm like, why you want an x-ray? But it's that extra effort, you know, um, or that extra love that he gives his patients or whatever, that really saved me, because if he had not gotten that x-ray, I wouldn't have known that I had pneumonia during that time too. And so possibly wouldn't be here. But when when he found out, that I had pneumonia, he said, I'm putting you in the hospital tonight. And he said, the reason why I want to get you on in the hospital is because so many people contracting this virus. I want to make sure we in there before the new drug, the remdesivir and the plasma procedure. I want to get you in there so we can do all this before it run out. So all those new methods were tried on me, and it actually, helped get it out quicker, and things of that nature. I never had to go on a breathing machine, which I wasn't gonna go on a ventilator at all, because ventilators was killing a lot of folks. And I had one of my childhood best friends. He didn't stop until he got a message to me at the hospital, because he had gone through respiratory school, and he said, do not let them put you on a ventilator. And so I stress that to folks too. Do not get on a ventilator. But I'm doing well. I have not been officially released by my doctor yet, because I think they're trying to make sure all the pneumonia is gone. I just recently got a COVID test, another COVID test, week before last, because my chief ended up testing positive in my town. So I'm going to get one more test probably next week to see, if everything is still good. But it's been a true tough journey. I mean, the hospital experience is nothing nice. I was in the hospital for 7 days in a room where really I couldn't see any sunlight, and so I just had walls and a television. So your mental capacity and your faith got to be strong. So I came up out of there even stronger from that standpoint, and just really, like I said, I never even thought about dying. It was almost like I said, to me, it was almost like God saying, I can't get a lot of folks to really understand how serious this virus is. So I got to send certain people in the fire to make some folks wake up. And I need you to go, and just go. I got you. And when you come out of this, I got a few more stripes I'm gonna add to your shoulder. So that's kind of where I am now. And it's something big he got in store for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm just, sitting back, waiting on the next task to come. But it's something big. It's something big.
Well, I
So
stand in agreement and praying with you. My last final question. What
appreciate that.
what words do you have for your younger self, which can also be a message to anybody out there that's listening? What message of encouragement would you give?
Well, Um, I would definitely say we are living in some tough times right now. But everybody just needs to understand that if you have faith, that if you have true faith, you'll know that trouble not gonna last always.
Yes.
And you know, I even used the post that I made tonight. You know, have faith to keep walking up that sidewalk, because a lot of people miss their blessings because they don't continue to walk up that sidewalk and then make that turn, because that most of the time that blessing is right around the corner. But a lot of folks give up and stop walking on the sidewalk, and then a lot of folks keep walking, but they give up right before it's time to make the turn. And so, you know, um, I if I can do it with three babies on my back, building a business and raising them. If I had given up, I wouldn't be where I am today. But you gotta still take those chances in order to succeed in life. And nothing that you're gonna get, nothing, a blessing, success, none of that is not gonna come without an obstacle. You gotta go through an obstacle course. And every blessing is gonna have an obstacle course to it, and it's gonna have a testimony to it. And because when you come out of it, God want you to be able to tell some folks your live testimony about it.
Wow, so powerful. I do believe that, and I have been saying for the longest, there's a purpose behind the pain, and our
Right.
pain usually point us to our purpose.
That's it. That's it.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I have enjoyed just hearing you talking about the things that you do, how much you give back, how much you have overcome. And I just want to just personally thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate it. Keep praying for me, because I wanna keep doing the work of God. I want to keep being successful. But I'm getting to the point in life where I want to help others be successful. Like I said, now that I've gotten my kids situated, my children situated, and the young men that I worked with, it doesn't take a whole lot for me these days. So now I want to try to, channel that energy in helping others. And also, like I said, getting in a position, of more power to really help the mass. So that's why I say it's something big is in store. I don't know what it is, but I believe it's going to be to help the mass of people.
Well, thank you again. And I'll be sending some of my students to you who are athletes, and I definitely think you would be a great mentor. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for watching the Fabulous Life Masterclass with Dr. J. I hope you all have enjoyed this interview. Next week, my guest is former mayor of Jackson, Tony Yarber. I think after that, I have Miss Yolanda Singleton. She owns her own promotion business. She do a lot of concerts around here. We also have Anjanou Ellis coming up in October. So I'm excited about some of these interviews. Again, if you have any questions that you would like for me to ask my guests, definitely let me know. I thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Florida, for helping me remember the name of the book. The movie is The Book of Eli. I'm up here producing the show, asking questions, running the everything that you see going on. So I'm doing everything. So I do get a little brain freeze every now and then. But again, if it's some people that you think I need to interview, definitely put their names below so I can reach out to them. I'm here every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. interviewing some of Mississippi's most fabulous and finest individuals. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And remember, God is fabulous and so are you. See you next